I stood under the fairy lights, glass in hand, waiting for Semyoni and Yon from my family to walk through that door. Instead, I got a flood of texts that read like a medical report from a cursed hospital ward. Mom. Honey, I'm feeling a little under the weather. I think it's the flu. So sorry, sweetie. Love you. Dad. Getting some tests done. Doctor thinks it might be shingles. Hope it's not contagious. Tell Derek congrats. My older sister Lauren. Nausea and a pounding headache. Maybe food poisoning? Wouldn't want to ruin your big day by vomiting on your dress face with tears of joy. Love you. Even my younger brother Jake texted. Running a fever. Slept 14 hours. Literally can't get out of bed. You look great in the pics though. Every single member of my family, every single one bailed on my engagement party with a different medical excuse. First, I believed them. I really did. I mean, what are the chances, right? Maybe there was a bug going around. But the doubts started trickling in about 2 hours into the party. That's when my fiancé Derek's cousin, Amanda, who drinks gossip like it's boxed wine, leaned in close and whispered, I thought your parents hated Derek's mom? I blinked. What? Yeah, your mom and Derek's mom had that thing a while back, didn't they? I smiled politely. I had no idea what she was talking about. I knew our families weren't close, but hate? No. Then she added, I mean, I wasn't sure if you knew. But I saw your mom at that wine and painting thing downtown last night, with your aunt and Lauren. Pause. Wait, I said, forcing a laugh. Like last night? Amanda nodded. Yeah. I mean, unless she has a twin who drinks Moscato and paints sunflowers badly. That was the first crack in the glass. I spent the rest of the party with a frozen smile, going through the motions, opening gifts, thanking people. But all I could hear in my head was my mom's voice. Flu. So sorry. And Amanda's. She paints sunflowers badly. When I got home, still in my party dress, I pulled out my laptop. I wasn't going to be crazy. I wasn't going to snoop. I just wanted to look. Instagram was first. Lauren had posted a story. It was already expired, but I remembered that her best friend, Jenna, often posted pictures of their nights out. I went to Jenna's page. I shouldn't have. There they were. All of them. Mom, Lauren, Aunt Monica, and even my brother Jake at a rooftop restaurant clinking glasses. It wasn't last night. It was that night. The night of my engagement party. The caption. Family dinner night. 2 hearts. Sometimes you just need to get away from the drama. Wine glass. I sat there staring at the screen until my laptop dimmed and fell asleep. Drama? Was I the drama? I called my mom the next day. She didn't pick up. I tried Lauren. Straight to voicemail. Even Jake just texted. Busy, Arn. Can I call you later? No one called back. So I did what any normal person would do. I booked a brunch date with Aunt Monica, the weakest link. She had always been the family's designated oversharer. If there was a secret, Monica couldn't hold it in if her life depended on it. We met at the cafe down the block from her Pilates class. She showed up in leggings, sunglasses, and guilt written all over her face. Sweetheart, she said, pulling me into a hug. You look so tired. Is everything okay? I dropped the menu. Where were you the night of my engagement party? She froze. What? She asked too quickly. I folded my arms. No lies. I know you were at dinner with Mom and everyone else. I saw Jenna's photos. She blinked. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. Then she let out a long sigh. Oh God. Your mother's going to kill me. She whispered, then leaned in. It was a meeting, she said. Sort of. A meeting. I echoed. Monica fidgeted with her napkin. It was. A discussion. About your future. About the wedding. About Derek's family. My future. I said, stunned. Without me. Your mom doesn't like Derek's mom, Monica said. She thinks she's pushy, controlling. There was an incident during your birthday party last year. Something about the seating arrangements. I vaguely remembered Mom being flustered about being placed at the wrong table. I hadn't thought it was that serious. She feels like Derek's family is slowly taking over, Monica continued. She said it feels like you're choosing them over us. I sat back, trying to swallow the rising nausea. So she faked being sick to boycott the party? Monica shook her head. She didn't fake. Not completely. She said she felt emotionally sick. She was heartbroken. I laughed. Cold and sharp. Heartbroken? Because I'm getting married. Monica tried to defend her. It wasn't about the wedding. It was about how everything's been planned without her. The venue, the guest list, even the cake tasting. She said she found out things on Facebook. I froze. That part was actually true. I had been sharing updates mostly online because my mom had been so passive-aggressive about everything. Every time I asked her opinion, she said, "Do what makes you happy." But in that tone. You know the one. Still. An entire family dinner behind my back? On the same night as my engagement party? I don't care if she felt left out, I snapped. You all lied to me. You let me believe you were sick. You watched me throw a party for myself while you toasted getting away from drama, somewhere else. I'm sorry, Monica said genuinely. But your mom didn't want to ruin the night by arguing with you. She thought if she showed up, there'd be a fight. She's right, I said. Because now there will be one. That night I told Derek everything. He listened without interrupting once, then said, "You know, my mom warned me this might happen." That was another punch. What? I asked. She said your mom never liked her. Said she saw it in the way she smiled with her teeth but not her eyes. He reached out and squeezed my hand. I'm sorry. This is supposed to be a happy time. I'll support whatever you want to do. And that was when the second crack appeared because I wasn't so sure anymore what I wanted to do. The next day I got a text from Lauren. It read, "We need to talk. You don't know everything." And with that, the twist I never saw coming was already sliding into place. Lauren's message haunted me for hours. I kept rereading it like there was some code hidden in the font. We need to talk. You don't know everything. What didn't I know? What more could there possibly be beyond the fact that my entire family had conspired to lie to me and ditch my engagement party? Eventually I replied, "Me fine. Meet me at Dad's coffee shop at 6. Lauren. See you there." When she walked in, Lauren looked like a shell of her usual confident self. No winged eyeliner. No expensive bag. Just a wrinkled tee and a nervous energy that vibrated off her like static. She sat across from me without a word, staring at the table between us as if it might explode. I broke the silence. "Start talking." She exhaled through her nose. "Okay, I'm not gonna defend how we handled the party. It was messed up. But there's context. You really don't know everything, and honestly, I wish you didn't have to." I folded my arms. "Try me." She hesitated. Then, "It's about Derek. And Mom. And something that happened a few months ago." I blinked. "What are you talking about?" Lauren looked like she wanted to crawl out of her skin. "Mom saw Derek. At a restaurant. With another woman." Everything in me froze. "Excuse me." She didn't want to tell you. At first she thought it was nothing. She said they looked close, but not romantic. Just weird. Intimate. And it bothered her. My mouth was dry. Who was the woman? Lauren looked away. We didn't know at first. So Mom did what she always does. She started snooping. Of course she did. My mom was basically an unpaid private investigator when she got suspicious. She followed him once. Just once. Said she hated herself for it. But she saw him go into a building with that same woman. It wasn't a restaurant that time, it was an apartment. Lauren looked up. She never saw them kiss. Never saw them touch. But she swore there was something off. I shook my head, half laughing. That's insane. Lauren didn't smile. It gets worse. Of course it did. She confronted him. Privately. A week before your party. She told him she didn't want to ruin your relationship. But she had to know what was going on. What did he say? Lauren's expression darkened. He denied everything. Said it was a coworker. That she was going through a bad divorce and he was helping her find a place to live. Swore on his life that nothing romantic was happening. I stared at her. Why didn't anyone tell me? Because Mom believed him. Or wanted to. But she didn't want to sit at your party, smiling in pictures, pretending everything was fine when she still had doubts. Lauren bit her lip. She said she needed space. That she couldn't pretend to be happy, while she felt like you might be walking into something fake. I leaned back trying to process. My stomach felt like it had been hollowed out with a spoon. I talked to Derek about this, I said finally. He never mentioned anything. Of course not, Lauren said gently. Because he knows how it would sound. I thought about that. About the look on Derek's face when I told him what happened with my family. The fact that he didn't look shocked, he looked tired. Like he'd seen this coming. But why fake being sick? Why not just say she had doubts? Because she knew it would destroy you, Lauren said. And she thought maybe, just maybe, she was wrong. We sat in silence for a while. Outside, the summer sky was dimming, turning gold at the edges. I felt dizzy. Like I was standing at the center of a circle, and everyone around me knew a secret I wasn't allowed to hear. Do you believe him? I asked Lauren. She didn't answer right away. Finally she said, I don't know. But I believe you deserve to. I walked out of that cafe with one thing on my mind. Mindy had to talk to Derek. When I got home, he was in the kitchen making dinner, completely oblivious to the emotional hurricane rolling in. Hey babe, he said, flipping something in a pan. You okay? You look pale. I leaned against the counter. We need to talk. He turned off the burner. Okay. I told him everything, Lauren, my mom, the restaurant, the apartment. He listened, jaw tightening, nodding slowly. When I finished, he said, that woman, her name's Tara. She's a junior developer at my firm. She was staying at a temporary rental that got flooded. She asked for help because her parents live out of state, and she didn't know who else to turn to. He rubbed his face. I swear to you, nothing happened between us. I didn't tell you because I knew how it would look. And I especially didn't want your mom to use it as ammunition. I stared at him, searching his face for cracks. But all I saw was exhaustion. Why didn't you tell me about mom confronting you? He sighed. Because she asked me not to. Said it was better if you didn't know. And honestly, I thought she'd get over it. Well, I said, she didn't. He nodded. Yeah. I figured that out when none of them showed up. We sat in silence. I believe you, I said at last. But I'm furious that I had to hear it from Lauren. And I'm even more furious that no one in my family thought I was adult enough to handle the truth. Same, he muttered. They treat you like a child. I should have felt relief. But what I felt was shame. A sharp, sticky shame that my engagement had turned into a battleground, and I was the last to realize. Over the next few days, the fallout unfolded like dominoes. Dad called me. I just wanted to keep the peace, he said. I didn't agree with your mom, but she was heartbroken. Aunt Monica left me a voicemail sobbing. I never meant for you to feel unloved. You're like a daughter to me. Jake texted. So are we pretending that party thing didn't happen or nah? And Mom? Mom finally sent a message that read, I hope one day you understand that everything I did was out of love. Sometimes love doesn't look like balloons and cake. Sometimes it's hard choices. I'll be here when you're ready to talk. That message made me angrier than anything else. Because love, real love, is showing up. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I didn't respond. Not then. Instead, I picked up the phone and called the one person I never thought I'd need to confide in. Derek's mom. Because if my mother was going to make this war about sides, then maybe it was time I stopped pretending I didn't already know who was in my corner. When Derek's mom picked up the phone, I almost chickened out. Hi, sweetie, she said brightly, completely unaware of the emotional avalanche barreling her way. I was just thinking about you. How's the wedding planning? I swallowed hard. Can we talk? Like really talk? There was a pause just long enough to make my chest tighten. Of course, she said, instantly softer. Come over tonight. Derek doesn't need to be there if that's easier. And so that's how I ended up on her patio that evening, watching her set out chamomile tea and lemon bars like this was just another Tuesday. She didn't press. She just sat across from me, her eyebrows gently raised in patient curiosity. My mom doesn't like you, I blurted, the words tumbling out unfiltered. She skipped our engagement party because she thinks you're taking over my life. She thinks Derek's cheating. And she basically made my entire family boycott the night we were supposed to celebrate our future. Silence. I wanted her to gasp, to cry, to look horrified or offended. Instead, she just sighed and nodded. I know, she said. I blinked. What? I've known for a while, she replied. Your mom's never said it outright, but it's there in the way she talks, the way she looks at me. Passive comments. Polite digs. You learn to recognize it over time. My throat felt tight. Why didn't you say anything? Because this was never about me, she said gently. It was about you. And I didn't want to put you in the middle. You didn't put me in the middle. My mom did, I snapped. She nodded. And now you're here. Which means you're ready to stop protecting people who hurt you. I looked at her, really looked at her. She didn't have my mom's icy edge or Lauren's sharp tongue. She had kindness in her eyes, the quiet kind that makes you feel seen without judgment. She thinks Derek was sneaking around with a coworker, I said. She saw him at a restaurant with a woman, followed him to an apartment. I asked him and he told me it was someone going through a rough time. Nothing romantic. Derek's mom didn't flinch. That tracks. He mentioned her once. Said he was helping her find a place because her ex was getting aggressive. You believe him? I asked. She didn't hesitate. Yes. I sat back, the night air cool against my skin. Do you think I'm making a mistake marrying into this mess? She smiled, the kind of smile that comes with years of surviving family storms. Honey, every family is a mess. What matters is who helps you clean it, you panned, who keeps tracking dirt in. That line hit me straight in the chest. When I left her house that night, I had more clarity than I'd had in weeks. Not peace, not closure, but a direction. The next morning, I did something that surprised even May. Called my mom. She answered on the first ring. Hi, she said cautiously. We need to talk, I said. Come home, she said instantly. I'll make lunch. We can talk it all through. So I did. I walked into the same house I grew up in, but it felt different, smaller somehow. Like I'd outgrown it overnight. Mom was in the kitchen, apron on, slicing cucumbers like nothing had ever happened. We sat across from each other, and for a while, neither of us spoke. Then I said, You owe me the truth. All of it. No sugarcoating. No, I did it out of love. Just honesty. She looked tired. Older than she did 2 weeks ago. I was scared, she said. That's the truth. I was scared I was losing you. You're not losing me, I said. I'm growing. There's a difference. She looked down. I felt like I wasn't part of your life anymore. You and Derek made all these decisions without me. The venue. The colors. The cake. And to know, I said, do what makes you happy. But I didn't think you'd take me so literally. I tried, I said, voice tight. You shot down everything I said. With silence. Or sarcasm. Or that look. Her lips trembled. I didn't know how to be okay with not being needed. I almost softened. Almost. Until I remembered the pictures. The dinner. The toasts made behind my back. You didn't just feel left out. You punished me for it, I said. You gathered the whole family and made a show out of your disapproval. On the night that was supposed to celebrate my future. Tears welled in her eyes. I know. I was wrong. I thought, if we stayed away you'd ask why. That maybe it would open the door for us to talk. I didn't expect Lauren to spill everything. She didn't spill, I said. She saved what little trust one had left. Mom wiped her eyes. I'm sorry. Truly. I let fear control me. I let pride get in the way. And I'm sorry for how I hurt you. I wanted to believe her. But apologies don't erase harm. They just acknowledge it. And sometimes that's not enough. I'm not disinviting you from the wedding, I said. But I am done pretending everything's fine. We need boundaries. You don't get to dictate my life. And you definitely don't get to weaponize the rest of the family when you're upset. She nodded. That's fair. And one more thing, I added, standing. I believe Derek. And if you ever try to plant seeds like that again about him, about his family, I will walk away. She didn't argue. Didn't defend herself. She just said, okay. I left with a heavy heart. Not broken. Not healed. Just heavier. That night I told Derek everything. He didn't say much. Just held me like the weight of the last few weeks finally had a place to land. The next few days were quiet. There were no grand gestures from my family. No sudden reunions. Just space. And weirdly, that was enough. Then, about a week later, I got an invitation in the mail. It was from Lauren. Girls' night, no drama, just wine. I almost laughed. I went. Half because I was curious. Half because I needed to know who was still in my corner. To my surprise, she kept it light. No lectures. No pity. Just laughter and that weird wine she liked that tasted like cherries and regret. Around midnight, she pulled me aside. "Mom's trying," she said. "In her own way. But she'll never be the mom you want. You know that, right?" "I do," I said quietly. Lauren smiled. "But I'm still your sister. And I am the sister you want." I hugged her harder than I expected. Later, after everyone else left, she said, "There's one more thing I didn't tell you." I groaned. "Oh God, what now?" "She didn't just see Derek with that woman. She followed you too. Once. Months ago. When you were meeting with your planner." My jaw dropped. "What? Why?" "She thought you were hiding something. She said you looked secretive." I blinked. "You mean the time I was surprising Derek with the engagement watch?" Lauren nodded. "Yep. That's the one." We both burst out laughing. And for the first time in weeks it felt real. After Lauren's little revelation about Mom following me to the watch store, something cracked open inside me. Not in a painful way, more like a final reluctant laugh after crying too long. It was ridiculous. All of it. My Mothran-educated, respected woman had become so obsessed with controlling me that she stalked me like a teenager scrolling through her ex's Instagram. And the wildest part? She truly believed she was doing it out of love. I left Lauren's girls' night with a weird combination of grief and relief in my chest. Grief for the version of my mother I'd never get. Relief for finally seeing her clearly. The wedding was 2 months away. I didn't change the date. I didn't scale it down. And I didn't add my mom back to any of the planning threads. But I did send her a formal invitation, same as every other guest. I even wrote optional +1 in the corner because I wanted her to feel like a guest, not a central character in my story. Derek and I pressed forward. We built the rest of our plans from the ground up with boundaries like bricks, laid with care. No longer afraid that every step forward might shatter someone else's illusion of control. My dad surprisingly stepped up in quiet ways. He asked if he could walk me down the aisle. I hesitated, but he said, "Not because I think I deserve it, but because I want to show you I see you now." And he did. The week of the wedding, Lauren texted me again. "Mom's anxious. I think she might back out." I replied, "That's her choice. But the seat will be there either way." And on the wedding day, there it was. An empty white chair near the front, decorated like all the others, reserved with her name on a simple, elegant card. I didn't turn around to check if she ever sat down. I didn't need to. Because right as I took Derek's hand at the altar, just as the music softened and the breeze moved through the trees, I heard the softest exhale behind me. A familiar perfume. A chair quietly shifting. She came. No fanfare. No dramatic apology. And that was enough. The ceremony was everything I needed it to be: real, grounded, emotional. Derek cried halfway through his vows. I wasn't far behind. Afterward, during the reception, my mom approached me. Not during a big moment. Not in front of guests. Just quietly, near the back garden where I'd stepped away to breathe. She didn't say much. Just, "I sat in that chair because I didn't want to miss the beginning of your real life. Even if I wasn't the one helping you build it." That was the closest thing to closure I'd get. And strangely, it was enough. Lauren and Jake danced like lunatics to 2000s throwbacks. Derek's mom gave a toast that had everyone crying and laughing in equal measure. And Derek held my hand through every moment like he always had, gently, steadily, without drama or noise. The following week, I got a card in the mail from my mom. It read, "You were always braver than I gave you credit for. You were never the one who needed protection. I just didn't know how to let go. I'm learning. I promise." That card didn't erase anything. It didn't fix years of conditioning, passive aggression, or weaponized silence. But it was something. A seed. A whisper of hope. And here's the thing I've learned. Sometimes love doesn't look like loud confessions or big apologies. Sometimes it looks like an empty chair filled at the last second. A hand squeezed without words. A truth told finally after too long in the dark. My family didn't show up for my engagement party, but I showed up for myself. And in the end, that made all the difference. So no, maybe I didn't get the Pinterest perfect lead up to marriage. No flawless fairy tale. No tearful say yes to the dress moment surrounded by champagne and motherly squeals. But I did get a wedding that was honest. I got clarity, boundaries, love that wasn't performative but earned. And more than anything, I got to choose who I let stand beside me. And that, I think, is the real happy ending.